Hey guys, men's dating coach HarryWilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. And today, I thought I'd share with you a personal dating story from back in my early days of college. And this story is about a date that taught me a huge lesson, which is why it is you do not spend a lot of money on a woman early on in the dating process. If you're watching this at youtube.com/HarryWilmington, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell icon to be notified of new shows. So I thought this story would be important to share. And this is actually a story that I mentioned in my book, No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams. In that book, I go over a lot of the things in a very funny way, but a lot of the mistakes that I made early on in my dating years that taught me a lot of lessons about what not to do when I'm dating. And this is one of the things that happened very, very early on in my freshman year in college. And I thought it's a good, important story to share because there are many guys out there that believe that in order to impress a woman, they really need to be spending a whole lot of money on these first, second, third, fourth dates. That way they can show that they aren't jobless and that they can actually support a woman. And they also want to be impressive, thinking if I show off this money, if I take her to these fancy dinners and these various concerts or whatever, that it's going to somehow equate with her having feelings for me and she's going to like me and want to date me. And so I'm glad I got this lesson early on, because if I had not gotten this lesson, I would have spent my 20s and 30s trying to impress women on these dates with all this money, and then not understanding that it wouldn't necessarily mean it's going to grow their affection for me. All right. So we're getting to that story. As always, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com to check out my various eBooks, audiobooks, video courses, and freebies. You can also go there to schedule a one-on-one consultation with yours truly. And if you like the messages you hear in any of my podcasts, you can go there to click on the tip jar tab to show your support. Also, if you have a question you want answered on one of these shows, write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, just leave a comment down below. Oh, and leave a 5-star review on iTunes for this podcast. Okay, so let me get into this story. So freshman year of college, I'm a lanky, anxious, introverted 18-year-old who hadn't really had, I had like one girlfriend for 2 weeks, but I hadn't really ever had like a serious long-term relationship. I hadn't really kissed anybody. I was like, in terms of my experience in the dating world, very low on the totem pole. So I'm a freshman in college, and I noticed that there's this other girl on campus that's in the freshman girls' dorm that to me is very, very attractive. And she was also giving me those eyes that indicated that she was kind of interested in me. And we were both very nervous to talk to each other. So I don't know how I got the courage to ask her out, but at some point I was able to ask her on a date. And I don't remember what our first date was. I think it might have been like a dinner somewhere off campus. And keep in mind, in college as a freshman, I didn't have a job. I think I had money from my scholarship that I was able to use to go on this date. And it wasn't really a lot. It was like just a restaurant of some kind. I forget what it was. But the point is, we went out on a date and we had a good time. During that first date, you ask a person what their interest is, what do they like to do for fun. And so she had randomly mentioned that she was a big fan of going to ice skating shows. And she had mentioned that she was a big fan of Disney on Ice, and that she loved going to the show. She liked seeing people, twirl about and do tricks on the ice and stuff like that. It was really, really fun. So we go on that first date. We have a good time. We're both very, very awkward. So I think I might have gone for a hug afterwards. We got back to the campus and I walked her to her dorm. It was all very, very innocent. So fast forward to like a week later, I happen to find out that Disney on Ice is going to be coming to the Coliseum that is near our college. And I was like, oh my God, this is my chance to impress this woman, because she said that she liked going to ice skating shows and Disney on Ice is coming to town. And if I could take her to that, then it would definitely A, be a good look, and B, score me some points in her attraction apartment in terms of being more attracted to me, because it'll be a magical date. I'll pay for the tickets. I'll get us maybe a dinner before or whatever, and we'll have a really good time. And she'll be able to see that I paid attention to the things that she liked, and it's going to make her want to like me more. So again, I think I used most of the money, not most of the money, but I used some of the money from my scholarship to be able to pay for these tickets. And these tickets, keep in mind, this is like 2001 pricing. The tickets are probably close to like $75 a person. I was like, oh, this is a lot of money to spend, but it's going to impress her and it's going to guarantee that she feels things for me. So screw it. I paid $75 each for our tickets. I call her up and I say, hey, I got a surprise for you. I want to take you out on this day and this time. Are you available? She said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So we catch a cab to go to the Coliseum. And then when we get there, I say, surprise, taking you to see Disney on Ice. And my thought was like, when I tell this news, she's going to be so enthused. She's going to jump for joy. She's going to jump into my arms and be throwing kisses all over my face. It's going to be amazing. And when I tell you that the look she had on her face was like the opposite of joy. It wasn't like being mad, but it was just kind of this look of like, oh, that's great. I think she said it like, oh, that's awesome. No enthusiasm, no hugs and kisses on me. It was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was like, oh, okay. So all I remember from that night is we're sitting there in these good seats to see Disney on Ice. And to me, it's a great show because I had never been. So seeing like these various fairy tale creatures that I had seen in these various Disney movies over years, now somehow being dressed up in costume, but still managing to skate and not fall down, amazing to me. But I remember the whole night, I just remember watching the show and looking over at her, and she had this look on her face as if like all the interest she had in me had just drained out of her body, and I could not understand it. Like I couldn't understand why it is that she would not be so enthused to be on this date. I mean, she said she liked ice skating. She said she liked Disney on Ice. We are at Disney on Ice, and she is not enthralled in any way, shape, or form. And I could not understand why it was. And after the show, we went back to the campus. I walked her to her dorm again, and that was it. And then I think I tried to call like a few days later to see if she wanted to go on another date, and she was just like not enthused at all. She wasn't insulting to me or anything like that, but she just wasn't enthused to go on a date. She wasn't saying like, she was like, oh no, I can't go because X, Y, and Z. And she wasn't giving any, indicators that she wanted to do something later. And so at the time, I couldn't understand what that was about. As I got older and I started to research more, I started to date more, and I started to really pay attention to the ebbs and flows of dating, what I didn't take into account was the fact that the events that you do as dates to women are going to reflect where you're at with your feelings in this budding dating phase, relationship, whatever. And if the activity that you choose is one that seems like it's too intense, it can make a woman feel as though you're trying to push her to feel things for you that she's not naturally at that point in your guys' process. And so what I didn't take into account was when I did that date, the amount that the tickets were and the kind of event that it was were signaling to her that I already had these extremely high feelings for her. Now, on my end of things, I knew that it was just a second date, and I just knew this was a thing that was going to have us a good time. I wasn't thinking at all about like, well, I was thinking that, she might, heighten her interest for me more, but I wasn't thinking that this second date, if it went right, automatically meant we were going to be in a relationship. But chances are that's how she took it. And that's what I've learned over the years because I've done similar things since then, whereby I would try to have these really high-end dates. One year I took a woman on a first date to a Beyonce concert. Great concert, by the way, but it did not solidify her feelings for me. It did not make her want to date me more. In fact, after that was our first date, 2 days later, she was talking about, I don't really feel that things, and he says, nah. So over the years, this is what my experiences have been. I've had first and second dates where I spent a lot of money. I took them to these great concerts, to these great events. I paid for a fancy meal. And very few of those situations resulted in the woman wanting to date me. Meanwhile, I've done the other opposite thing where my first date has consisted of a simple to do restaurant where I spent no more than $25 on like splitting a pizza. I've done picnic dates. I've done walk in the park dates. I've done movie dates. I've done dates where we just go get coffee. And the majority of those dates either resulted in a few more dates or eventually segued into being into a relationship. And so what that has taught me very simply is that you can't buy a woman's affections. No amount of money you spend on a restaurant, on a meal, on an event is going to help her build attraction to you if that attraction was not already there from the start. I have yet to be able to take a woman that has no feelings for me and somehow transform them into a relationship where she's feeling all the things for me. But I have been able to take situations where the woman had an initial attraction to me, a spark of some kind, thought I was cute, thought I was funny, thought I had things about me in my personal life that were very intriguing to her. and be able to use that as a means to build conversations, build connection, and have authentic growth without me having to throw money at it. So for you guys that are struggling and wondering what it is about it that you're able to take these girls on these awesome, amazing dates and still not get anywhere, consider that. Consider that it really isn't all about necessarily the date that's happening or how much you're spending, but it really is about, are you building an authentic connection with that person? And I think you'll find that once you're able to realize that, you'll start focusing more on building yourself into the kind of person that women like, instead of trying to mask your personality as of now with money in hopes that she's going to look past your personality and be attracted to the money you're able to spend. Because I can tell you from my personal experience, from that very first one in college all the way to now, rarely has my money been able to make a woman like me more. But my personality, my demeanor, how I treat her, how I talk to her, how I make her feel has gone a very long way. If you need help with that, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, check out all the stuff that's there, and I promise you, you too can get better to where your personality will keep a woman around long term. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode and catch new episodes right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so you too can learn to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.